Have you ever wondered what happens when the most advanced military technology on Earth is completely neutralized by a weapon you can buy at a local sporting goods store? Right now, in the blood-soaked skies over Eastern Europe, the multi-billion-dollar military-industrial complex is crashing down to Earth, shattered by the most unexpected low-tech weapon imaginable, the humble shotgun, suddenly given wings and artificial intelligence. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on how cutting-edge technology is reshaping our world, hit that subscribe button right now, drop a like, and share this video with someone who needs to see the future of warfare unfold. We are witnessing a paradigm shift that is rewriting every tactical manual ever written. For over a century, military superiority was defined by massive machines, heavy tanks, stealth fighter jets, and incredibly expensive missile defense networks. But today, those multi-million-dollar behemoths are being hunted, disabled, and destroyed by cheap, agile consumer quadcopters carrying explosive charges. This is the era of the FPV drone, a weapon that has democratized air support and turned the front lines of Ukraine into a terrifying, transparent panopticon where nothing can hide. For months, both Russian and Ukrainian forces have been locked in a desperate evolutionary arms race to find a reliable countermeasure to these buzzing killers. Jamming signals, electronic warfare, and heavy anti-aircraft guns have all been thrown at the problem, but none have proven to be the silver bullet. Electronic warfare can be bypassed by changing frequencies or using fiber optic cables, while traditional guns are simply too slow and clumsy to hit a tiny, erratic target moving at over 100 miles per hour. But now, Ukrainian engineers have unleashed a solution so simple, so cost-effective, and so devastatingly lethal that it has left Russian forces completely defenseless. They have taken the classic scattergun, automated it with advanced artificial intelligence, and mounted it on both autonomous ground vehicles and nimble aerial platforms, creating a literal shield of flying lead. To truly understand how revolutionary these flying shotguns are, we have to look at the sheer desperation on the other side of the trenches. Russia, despite boasting the self-proclaimed second most powerful military in the world, has found itself utterly helpless against Ukraine's rapid technological adaptation. The Kremlin's rigid, bloated military bureaucracy simply cannot keep pace with the agile, startup-style innovation of Ukrainian defense firms. This technological paralysis was laid bare in a shocking training video that recently went viral across military communities worldwide. In a desperate bid to create some form of mobile air defense against FPV drones, Russian instructors took a massive, four-barreled Yak-B 12.7mm heavy machine gun, a weapon normally mounted on the formidable Mi-24 Hind attack helicopter, and bolted it onto a crude, homemade metal ground stand. The setup lacked any form of recoil mitigation, hydraulic dampening, or stabilization. When a Russian soldier pulled the trigger to test the weapon against a simulated drone threat, the raw, violent physics of the battlefield took over. The machine gun unleashes a staggering 1.4 tons of recoil force. Instantly, the weapon became a bucking, uncontrollable monster. It violently ripped itself out of the operator's grip, threw him to the dirt, and began spinning a full 360 degrees on its mounting, spraying incredibly lethal heavy-caliber rounds in a wild, random circle. Instructors and bystanders had to dive headfirst into the mud, clawing at the earth to escape their own weapon. While miraculously no one was killed, the incident became a laughingstock on social media, and a stark symbol of Russia's profound technological desperation. They are trying to solve 21st century autonomous threats with crude, dangerous, and outdated brute force. Meanwhile, Ukraine is approaching the problem with surgical, intellectual precision. Instead of relying on raw firepower that endangers their own troops, they are letting algorithms and automated kinetics do the heavy lifting. The results speak volumes. In a recent single month of combat operations, Ukrainian forces managed to knock down more than 8,000 Russian unmanned aerial vehicles. This historic level of airspace denial is not being achieved by firing million-dollar Patriot or NASAMS missiles at cheap plastic targets. That would be an economic disaster, quickly bankrupting Ukraine's Western allies. Instead, they are dominating the asymmetric air war through highly innovative, ultra-low-cost defensive systems. Foremost among these is a groundbreaking robotic guardian designed to protect soldiers right at the tactical edge, the Ataman Active Protection System. Developed by the pioneering Ukrainian defense technology firm Varta, the Ataman is a fully automated, close-range, kinetic, hard-kill defensive shield designed specifically to safeguard ground vehicles and stationary infantry positions. At the absolute core of this system is an incredibly advanced artificial intelligence optical detection and tracking unit known as the Dozer. The Dozer unit, utilizing dual high-resolution cameras to continuously sweep the surrounding airspace in a 180-degree upper hemisphere, searching for the unique visual and behavioral signatures of incoming kamikaze drones. The system is completely passive, meaning it does not emit radar signals that Russian electronic intelligence could detect and target. When an FPV drone dives toward a vehicle equipped with the Ataman at speeds exceeding 80 miles per hour, the AI detects the threat at a critical distance of 50 to 80 meters. In a fraction of a second, the algorithm takes complete control, calculating the intercept trajectory and making the decision to fire without needing human input, which would simply be too slow. The moment the hostile drone enters the optimal kill zone of 5 to 30 meters, the system triggers its payload, 8 heavy-duty 12-gauge shotgun barrels arrayed in a defensive arc. Firing simultaneously, they unleash a dense, expanding cloud of specialized kinetic buckshot. This wall of lead shreds the drone's delicate carbon fiber propellers, shatters its plastic housing, and detonates its payload safely in midair, long before it can make contact with the vehicle's armor. Because the Ataman is equipped with its own autonomous backup power supply and a highly modular mounting system, it can be bolted onto the roof of virtually any tactical vehicle, truck, or armored personnel carrier in a matter of minutes. It provides an impenetrable bubble of protection against the steep, vertical diving attacks that drone pilots use to target the thin-top armor of tanks and infantry fighting vehicles. The sheer economic efficiency of this system is mind-boggling. Instead of risking a soldier's life by forcing them to stand in a hatch with a manual shotgun, exposed to shrapnel and sniper fire, a completely robotic system does the job with perfect algorithmic accuracy. This robotic evolution is actually the direct descendant of lessons paid for in blood in the muddy trenches of the Donbass. Before these automated systems were perfected, Ukrainian infantrymen had to rely on sheer grit and manual shotguns as their absolute last line of defense against incoming suicide drones. Recognizing the utility of the classic scattergun pattern against small, fast-moving aerial targets, the Ukrainian military purchased over 4,000 Turkish-made Hatsan Escort BTS-12 semi-automatic bullpup shotguns. Elite units, such as the renowned 68th Jaeger Brigade and the highly specialized 413th Unmanned Systems Battalion, established rigorous training courses. Soldiers were trained like clay pigeon shooters, learning to lead fast-moving, buzzing targets and blow them out of the sky before they could plunge into their trenches. But as effective as manual shotguns were, they had a fatal flaw: human limitation. A soldier, under the immense psychological stress of an incoming screaming suicide drone, can easily panic, miss, or fail to react in time. Furthermore, standing up to aim a shotgun makes the soldier a stationary target for secondary drone strikes or artillery. The transition to autonomous, AI-driven platforms, like the Ataman, completely removes human error, fatigue, and fear from the equation, turning a desperate survival reflex into a highly reliable mechanical science. But Ukrainian innovation did not stop at defending ground forces. With characteristic audacity, they asked a fundamental question: why wait for the enemy drones to come to us when we can hunt them down? If you find this deep dive into the changing face of modern warfare fascinating, please take a moment to share this video, subscribe to the channel, and give us a thumbs up so we can continue to bring you the most detailed military analysis on YouTube. By taking the kinetic shotgun concept and launching it into the sky, Ukrainian engineers have created the ultimate aerial predator, the flying shotgun. Also designed by the brilliant minds at Varta, this drone hunter system is a modular, lightweight kinetic interceptor mounted directly onto large, high-speed quadcopters. Historically, mounting a firearm on a small drone was considered functionally impossible due to the laws of physics. The violent recoil of a 12-gauge shotgun blast in the thin air would instantly destabilize a multi-rotor drone, causing it to lose aerodynamic control, flip over, and crash. To solve this monumental engineering challenge, Ukrainian designers developed a brilliant recoil-free dual-barrel firing mechanism. When the hunter drone fires, the system utilizes a counter-directional pressure release or fires blank charges in the opposite direction. This perfectly cancels out the physical forces of the primary blast, allowing the carrier drone to maintain absolute, rock-solid stability in midair, even when discharging heavy combat rounds. These flying shotgun platforms are integrated with the same Dozer artificial intelligence system, allowing them to operate as autonomous aerial interceptors. The hunter drone patrols the skies, scanning for Russian reconnaissance drones like the Orlan 10, Zala, or Supercam, which fly high over the front lines to spot targets for Russian heavy artillery. The AI can detect these hostile reconnaissance platforms at a distance of up to 126 meters. Using its superior speed and stealthy electric motors, the Ukrainian hunter drone maneuvers silently into the blind spot of the Russian aircraft, approaching it from behind and slightly below. Once it closes the gap to an optimal range of 5 to 20 meters, the system triggers electrically primed 12-gauge rounds. The ammunition used in these intercepts is not off-the-shelf birdshot. Varta has developed a proprietary line of electrically triggered, specialized anti-drone ammunition known as Spree. Depending on the target, operators can load different specialized payloads before takeoff. For soft-skinned quadcopters, they use high-spread lead pellets that maximize the chance of a hit. For larger, armored, fixed-wing reconnaissance aircraft, they can chamber dense, heavy alloy pellets designed to penetrate outer casings and destroy expensive optical cameras and internal electronics. The operational economics of this aerial hunter system are absolutely revolutionary. The physical hardware kit to adapt a standard heavy drone into a flying shotgun costs around $300. The cost of a single defensive shot is roughly €6. Yet, with that €6 shot, a Ukrainian drone can instantly blind a Russian artillery guidance system worth tens of thousands of dollars, or knock out a Zala reconnaissance drone that costs over $100,000 to manufacture. It is an economic asymmetry that is completely unsustainable for the Russian military. These hunter drones operate on a strict one-flight, one-hit philosophy, and they are fully integrated into Ukraine's revolutionary Delta Digital Battlefield Management Network. Delta is a real-time situational awareness platform that integrates data from satellites, ground sensors, recon drones, and human intelligence into a single, cohesive digital map. This means that a flying shotgun drone does not have to wander the skies blindly searching for targets. If a Ukrainian infantryman on the ground spots a Russian drone, or if a radar station miles away detects a low-flying intruder, the target's exact GPS coordinates are instantly fed into the Delta network. The nearest hunter drone receives the data link, automatically launches, flies to the intercept coordinate, uses its onboard AI to lock onto the target, and shoots it out of the sky. The real-world effectiveness of this system has been thoroughly proven in combat. Over 20 active frontline Ukrainian units are currently operating these flying shotguns, integrating them onto more than 10 distinct drone airframes. The results have been spectacular. In one legendary engagement, the 30th Mechanized Brigade managed to down more than 20 Russian reconnaissance and FPV drones using a single reusable shotgun-equipped drone. In the intensely contested Donetsk region, elite units of the Azov National Guard Corps utilized shotgun-armed FPV interceptors to systematically hunt down and destroy 6 Russian Molniya suicide drones in rapid succession. These are not isolated testing incidents. They represent a coordinated, highly successful campaign to completely deny Russia the use of its tactical eyes in the sky. But what about the armored vehicles on the ground that are constantly targeted by swarms of diving suicide drones? To protect these vital high-value assets, Ukrainian engineers have developed a spectacular passive-active hybrid defense, the 32-barrel net launcher system. For the first 2 years of the war, both sides attempted to protect their tanks and armored vehicles by welding crude steel cages around them, often mocked as cope cages. While these metal slats could sometimes prevent a drone's warhead from making direct contact with the main armor, they were heavy, restricted the crew's visibility, and made the vehicles incredibly bulky. The Ukrainian company Armspec Technology decided to replace these heavy, passive metal cages with an active, intelligent, and reactive protection complex. Tested and perfected on modernized BRDM-2M armored scout cars, this system consists of 32 individual net launching modules, arrayed in a circular pattern around the vehicle's exterior. This strategic placement ensures complete, seamless 360-degree coverage, leaving absolutely no blind spots for an attacking drone to exploit. This system is part of a much broader, highly sophisticated survivability upgrade. By pairing the net launchers with remote-controlled weapon stations, the vehicle's crew can remain safely sealed inside a heavily armored cocoon, completely isolated from external threats. When an incoming Russian FPV drone begins its final high-speed terminal dive toward the vehicle, optical sensors and micro-radar units detect the threat. The central processing unit instantly calculates the drone's speed and trajectory. In a split second, the system triggers the specific net launcher tube oriented toward the threat vector. Utilizing a small, controlled explosive charge, the tube launches a wide, durable ballistic net directly into the path of the incoming drone. As the net travels through the air, it rapidly expands. When the drone collides with this expanding net, the strong synthetic fibers instantly wrap around its high-speed propellers. The moment the propellers are restricted, the drone loses all aerodynamic lift, its motors stall, and its internal flight stabilization computer fails. The drone, completely stripped of its control and kinetic momentum, crashes harmlessly into the dirt several meters away from the vehicle. This system is incredibly elegant because it turns the drone's own high velocity against it. The faster the drone is flying, the more effectively the net entangles it. Furthermore, the explosive force of the net launch and the physical impact of the heavy fibers often disrupt the delicate impact fuses. These fuses, which typically consist of 2 intersecting wire loops, are bent or crushed without completing the electrical circuit, preventing the warhead from detonating at all. And even if the warhead does detonate upon contact with the net, the explosion occurs several meters away from the vehicle's hull, dramatically reducing the penetrative power of the shaped charge and keeping the crew safe. To maximize survivability, this active net system can be layered directly over existing metal cage armor. This creates a multi-layered defensive shield. If a coordinated Russian drone swarm attacks a single vehicle, the active net launchers handle the first wave of threats, while the underlying physical steel cage acts as a final life-saving backup line of defense. Russia has tried desperately to replicate this technology, but their efforts have fallen flat. While Russian state media has boasted about their heavy turtle tanks, vehicles encased in sheet metal, these monstrosities are incredibly slow, deaf, and blind, making them easy targets for artillery. Russian companies like TechCrim have tried to produce net-firing handheld munitions for infantry, but these manual systems have a highly limited range of only 30 meters. Compared to Ukraine's fully automated 360-degree vehicle-mounted systems, the Russian efforts are rudimentary and ineffective. If you appreciate the depth of research and clear storytelling we put into every single video, make this moment count. Hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and share this video with your friends. Your support is what drives us to keep uncovering the truth behind the headlines. The tactical implications of these combined technologies on the battlefield are immense. For months, both Ukrainian and Russian units were forced to operate with extreme caution. The ever-present threat of FPV drones meant that tanks and armored personnel carriers could not move in large formations, gather in staging areas, or conduct rapid, deep breakthroughs without being spotted and systematically destroyed. Armor was forced to hide in dense tree lines, only emerging to fire a few quick shots before scurrying back into cover. This static environment turned the war into a grueling, slow-moving war of attrition. But with the deployment of autonomous shotgun shields like the Ataman and reactive net launchers, Ukrainian armored columns can once again move with confidence and speed. They can conduct bold defensive maneuvers, secure vital supply lines, and transport infantry safely to the front lines, restoring the element of shock and speed to mechanized warfare. This revolution in close-range tactical defense is happening at a time when Russia's wider air defense network is suffering catastrophic, irreversible losses. Throughout this year, Ukraine's unmanned systems forces have waged a highly coordinated campaign to systematically blind Russian air defenses. In 1 month alone, Ukrainian deep penetration strike drones destroyed 32 critical Russian air defense systems, including highly advanced S-350, S-400, and Pantsir S-1 batteries. This brought the total number of Russian strategic air defense systems destroyed since the beginning of the year to a staggering 195. With Russia's radar systems and missile launchers burning across the occupied territories, Ukraine's deep strike capabilities have expanded dramatically. In the same month, Ukrainian forces struck over 200,000 Russian targets, including ammunition depots and oil refineries deep inside Russian territory. While Russia's defensive umbrella in the sky is cracking and splintering, Ukraine's own air defense network is becoming increasingly lethal. Today, Ukrainian air defense units regularly boast an incredible intercept rate of 92 to 96% against Russia's waves of Shahed 136 drones. This near-impenetrable defensive wall has forced the Kremlin into a corner, compelling them to abandon low-cost drone strategies. Because their standard propeller-driven Shahed drones were being easily shot down, Russia had to field a new, highly expensive jet-powered variant. Powered by a small turbojet engine, these new variants fly at speeds 3 times faster than their predecessors and operate at much higher altitudes. To make matters worse for the Russian treasury, their drone operators can no longer simply program a direct, straight-line flight path to a target. Instead, Russian mission planners must now design highly complex, multi-stage flight paths. These paths are carefully routed to weave through known gaps in Ukrainian radar coverage and actively avoid heavy electronic warfare installations. To assist in this flight planning, Russian engineers have begun equipping Shahed drones with advanced optical and electronic seeker modifications. Instead of acting as blind flying bombs, these upgraded drones act as active reconnaissance platforms during their flight, analyzing the frequencies and locations of Ukrainian air defense radars. But these advanced modifications come with a massive drawback: cost and complexity. While Russia is trying to rapidly scale up production at their massive Alabuga manufacturing facility in Tatarstan, the high technical requirements and reliance on smuggled microchips have created a bottleneck. As a result, while Russia is fielding more sophisticated drones, the overall volume of their long-range drone strikes has seen a noticeable decline. They can no longer afford to launch the massive, relentless swarms that characterized the winters of 2022 and 2023. This brings us to a fascinating contrast in military philosophy between the two nations. Both Ukraine and Russia have transitioned to industrial-scale production, churning out tens of thousands of unmanned systems every month. But their strategic approaches are polar opposites. Russia relies on its massive, state-directed industrial base to focus entirely on quantity, raw volume, and standardization. They want to overwhelm air defenses through sheer numbers, using cheap, standardized drone swarms to exhaust Ukraine's stockpiles of defensive interceptors. Ukraine, on the other hand, cannot match Russia's raw industrial mass. Therefore, they focus on rapid technological agility, extreme precision, and relentless innovation. This approach has allowed them to maintain a highly favorable 1.5 to 1 FPV usage advantage along the active front lines. Rather than relying on massive state factories that take months to approve a single design change, Ukraine has built an organic pipeline that connects frontline combat units directly with private technology startups. This ecosystem is facilitated by the Brave One Defense Technology Cluster, a government-sponsored initiative that acts as a matchmaking platform and incubator for military innovation. If a soldier in a trench identifies a new jammer, that information is uploaded to Brave One. Chigayuwa 1. Within days, private software developers and hardware engineers are working on a solution. Within weeks, prototypes are being tested on the front lines, and within a month, the finished product is being deployed at scale. This hyper-rapid adaptation cycle has birthed some of the most sci-fi-esque weapons ever seen in modern combat. Beyond flying shotguns, Ukrainian inventors have integrated standard 5.45mm AK-74 infantry rifles onto stabilized, remote-controlled gimbal mounts on quadcopters. Even more revolutionary is the widespread deployment of fiber-optic guided FPV drones. Traditional wireless drones rely on radio signals to transmit video to the pilot and commands to the drone. These radio signals are highly vulnerable to electronic jamming, but a fiber optic drone carries a spool of ultra-thin, incredibly strong fiber optic cable on its back, unspooling it behind the drone as it flies. Because the control signals and high-definition video feed travel physically through the glass fiber cable, these drones are completely immune to any jamming. They can fly directly into the dome of the most powerful Russian jammers and strike their targets with pinpoint, crystal-clear accuracy. Russia's specialized electronic warfare units find themselves completely powerless against this simple physical solution. The Kremlin's sluggish bureaucracy is constantly left flat-footed, struggling to write manuals for threats that Ukraine has already evolved past. But the ultimate expression of Ukraine's technological superiority is their ability to defeat Russia's electronic jamming wall at long range. For years, Russia has protected its deep rear areas with a massive curtain of GPS jamming and spoofing, rendering GPS-guided weapons highly inaccurate. To shatter this electronic wall, the Ukrainian defense startup Dark River developed a true technological masterpiece, the APU-S1 interceptor drone. The APU-S1 is a sleek, fixed-wing, high-speed autonomous aircraft designed with a single, ruthless mission in mind: to hunt down and destroy Shahed drones. Launched from a simple, portable pneumatic catapult system that can be set up in under 5 minutes by a 2-man crew, it is built for speed. Powered by a high-efficiency electric or hybrid motor, it can reach an astonishing maximum speed of 320 kilometers per hour. It destroys its targets either by detonating a highly lethal fragmentation warhead near the enemy aircraft or through a high-impact kinetic collision. What makes the APU-S1 truly revolutionary is its absolute immunity to electronic warfare. When it enters an area where GPS signals are jammed, it does not lose its way. Instead, the drone switches to a fully autonomous, vision-based navigation and targeting system. Equipped with high-definition optical cameras and an onboard AI processor, the drone sees the landscape below, matching terrain features against a map. When searching for an enemy drone, the AI analyzes the visual feed, instantly isolating the shape and movement of a Russian Shahed or Orlan. Once a target is identified and locked, the APU-S1 tracks it autonomously, calculating its intercept path, and diving on the target like a missile. The cost of this incredible platform? A mere $3,300. By replacing million-dollar surface-to-air missiles with an ultra-low-cost autonomous hunter, Ukraine is completely rewriting the economic laws of national defense. To complement the long-range capabilities of the APU-S1, Ukraine is also deploying localized automated air defense systems like the Contra drone. These are rapid-response, ground-based robotic turrets, designed to automatically track, lock onto, and destroy low-flying aerial targets moving at speeds up to 300 kilometers per hour. These systems possess a reaction speed that no human gunner could ever match, forming a dense, automated barrier against low-altitude infiltration. With a maximum operational ceiling of 4,500 meters, the APU-S1 can patrol high altitudes, where Russian reconnaissance drones traditionally feel safe. This ensures that the eyes of Russian artillery are systematically and cost-effectively put out, leaving their heavy guns firing blindly into the void. What we are witnessing in the skies over Ukraine is not just a temporary tactical evolution. It is the dawn of a completely new epoch in human conflict. The age of massive industrial-era armies clashing with heavy steel and raw numbers is drawing to a close. It is being replaced by a hyper-technological, asymmetric arena where artificial intelligence, automated kinetics, and rapid software iteration are the ultimate arbiters of victory. The traditional defense industries of the world, built on decades-long procurement cycles, are watching in absolute shock as $300 flying shotguns, $5 shotgun shells, and $3,000 AI interceptors render their most advanced systems obsolete. The future of warfare will not belong to the side with the biggest factories, the largest populations, or the deepest pockets. It will belong to the side that can innovate the fastest, adapt the most fluidly, and harness the power of artificial intelligence at the lowest cost. As the algorithms clash in the skies and automated shields protect the soldiers below, one thing is absolutely certain. The rules of war have changed forever, and there is no turning back.